Alfa Romeo logo has a red cross and a big snake. But don't worry, the snake is just part of a story from Italy. It shows power and victory, and it's been on their cars for over 100 years. Cool, right? Cars are super small, but they're also super famous. They were first made in England over 60 years ago. Mini cars became stars in racing and even appeared in movies like The Italian Job. Isn't that awesome? Lexus cars are known for being super fancy and super quiet. The first Lexus was made over 30 years ago, and it was so smooth that people said you could balance a glass of water on the engine while it ran. How cool is that? Porsche cars are super fast and super famous for racing. The very first Porsche was made in a tiny garage, using parts from other cars. Now Porsche makes some of the fastest cars in the world. Isn't that amazing? Lamborghini was started by a man who made tractors, but he wanted to build supercars instead. Their cars are super fast, and their names, like Aventador and Huracan, come from famous fighting bulls. McLaren cars are built for speed and were created by a race car driver named Bruce McLaren. Their cars are so fast, some can go over 200 miles per hour. They even use special lightweight materials, like in airplanes. Cool, right? Cars are made for adventure and can drive through mud, sand, and even rivers. The first Land Rover was built over 70 years ago, and it was painted green because they used leftover army paint. Isn't that cool? Fiat is one of Italy's oldest car makers, and their tiny cars like the Fiat 500 are super popular. They're small enough to fit on narrow streets and super fun to drive. Fiat has been making cars for over 120 years. How cool is that? Toyota is one of the biggest car makers in the world, and they built the first ever hybrid car, the Prius. Their cars are super reliable and can last for many, many years. Toyota started making cars almost 90 years ago. Isn't that amazing? Chevrolet, or Chevy for short, is famous for making cars and trucks for over 100 years. Their first car was called the Classic 6, and now they even make electric cars. The Chevy bow tie logo is one of the most famous car symbols in the world. Audi's logo has 4 rings, and each one stands for a different car company that joined together to make Audi. They're also famous for their super cool headlights that look like light shows at night. Isn't that awesome? Koenigsegg makes some of the fastest cars in the world, and they're built in Sweden. Each car is made mostly by hand, and they use super advanced materials like carbon fiber. Some Koenigsegg cars can go over 300 miles per hour. How cool is that? BMW started by making airplane engines, and their logo shows a spinning propeller. Today, BMW makes fast and fancy cars, and they're known for their super smooth driving. They've been making cars for almost 100 years. Makes electric cars that don't need any gas at all. Their cars are super smart, and some can even drive themselves. The Tesla logo looks like a T, but it also shows part of an electric motor. Ferrari cars are super fast, and their logo, the prancing horse, was inspired by a fighter pilot symbol. Ferrari has been winning races for over 70 years, and their cars are known for their bright red color. Isn't that awesome? Jaguar cars are super sleek and named after the fast and powerful Big Cat. Their first sports car was so popular, people called it the most beautiful car in the world. Jaguars are built for speed and luxury. Cool, right? Beetle became one of the best-selling cars ever. And it was even in movies like Herbie. Isn't that fun? Lotus cars are super light and built to go really fast around sharp corners. Their founder had a simple rule: make the car lighter and it will go faster. Lotus cars are even used in racing. What do you think about it? Ford was the first company to make cars on an assembly line, so they could build them faster and sell them for less. Their Model T was so popular, it's called the car that changed the world. Bugatti makes some of the fastest cars in the world, and they're also super fancy. The Bugatti Veyron was the first car to go over 250 miles per hour. Each Bugatti is handmade and costs millions of dollars. Maserati cars are super stylish, and their logo is a trident inspired by a famous statue of Neptune, the sea god. They've been making luxury cars for over 100 years, and some models are even used for racing. Pagani makes supercars that look like works of art, and they're built mostly by hand. Each car uses special lightweight materials like carbon fiber, and some can go over 200 miles per hour. Isn't that amazing? Rolls-Royce makes some of the most luxurious cars in the world, and they're so quiet, people call them rolling palaces. Every car has a special hood ornament called the Spirit of Ecstasy, and it's handmade just like the car. Isn't that fancy? Aston Martin cars are super stylish, and they're famous for being in James Bond movies. The name comes from a hill climb race called Aston Hill, and the founder's last name, Martin. Their cars are all about speed and luxury. Cool, right? Mercedes-Benz made the very first car ever over 130 years ago. Their logo, the three-pointed star, vehicles for land, sea, and air. Mercedes cars are famous for being super fancy and super safe.